So mitzvah Chanukah here. The mitzvah of Chanukah, page 78, chapter 11, Yud Aleph. Lahadlik or, to kindle light. Ketzad yotzrim et or, how do we make this light? Notlim shemen, we take oil, or etz, or wood, or kedoma, and the like. Klomar, meaning to say, davar gashmi, we take a physical thing. Umachamimim oto, and we warm it, ad shehu chadal miliyot gashmi, until it ceases being just physical, umatchil, in the sense that it's just for itself. That's the nature of physicality. The nature of physicality is it is unto itself. It ceases to be unto itself and becomes a source of light. Umatchil laha'ir et kol ha'sviva, and now because we warm it, so it begins to illuminate the entire environment. Hadlakat hanirot b'Chanukah, the lighting of the menorah on Chanukah, novad, is a consequence, or it comes from me'adlakat hanirot shaya nehuga b'Beit HaMikdash, from the lighting of the menorah that was done in the Beit HaMikdash. But note the differences. B'Beit HaMikdash hayu madlikim nerot b'chol ha'layla. The time of the Beit HaMikdash, the nerot, the menorah, was lit as commanded in the Torah every night of the year. That's the commandment. But in the period of the story and the miracle of Chanukah, lo nimtza shemen tahor, there was no olive oil adlakat menorah, to light the menorah. B'asah kodesh baruch hu nes, Hashem made a miracle. Shenimtza pach shemen tahor, they found a cruse of pure oil, chasum b'chatamo shel kohen gadol, with the seal of the high priest. Actually, there are two texts in the Talmud. That's exactly what they found. One says they found the cruse of oil lying next to the seal of the high priest, his signet, his ring. And the more common text is the one we just quoted, that the oil was sealed with the seal of the high priest, which raises a number of questions. Why altogether would there be any oil sealed with the seal of the high priest and not just the ordinary Kohanim, the mashgichim, the ones in charge of producing the oil? It would surely carry their seal. Why would it carry the seal of the high priest? So one of the explanations, therefore, favors that it was a signet ring. So the question now is, how can we be sure? This is an independent question. How can we be sure that it wasn't contaminated also? It just takes being touched. That's all it takes. So how do you know it wasn't touched? So therefore, this explanation says, how do we know it wasn't touched? Because there was the signet ring of the high priest. So figure it out. Do the logic. Be a little bit of a Sherlock Holmes, friends. If we say that it was next to the signet ring of the high priest, you've got your answer. Deductive reasoning, little like Sherlock Holmes. The fact that they didn't steal the ring, they left it. It means they didn't see this. It was overlooked. They would have taken the ring. So the fact that they didn't take the ring means that they did not molest or touch the oil, because they clearly overlooked this spot. There are many other answers to exactly what happened and why we're sure that they didn't contaminate this oil as well. But anyway, be it as it may, be it as it may. And again, the more popular text is that not that there was a signet ring next to it, but rather the seal, the unbroken seal, was on the actual cruse of oil itself. So at any rate, so the miracle was Hashemen shebepach hispik v'tzimtzum liyom echad. It was only enough. You have a question?
You said if it were touched, it would have been contaminated. Is that also true if it were sealed, meaning enclosed with a cover?
Well, yeah, I don't want to get into the whole subject. Generally speaking, it depends what the container is. A metal container, even touching the outside, even with the seal, makes no difference. The contents inside becomes impure. However, an earthenware container does not contract contamination on its exterior. It's only if the impure agent or item enters into the inner space, the inside of the container. So if the seal was unbroken, then they didn't. But then there's a discussion whether that applies to non-Jews, that law, or not. To their contamination, it applies to regular impurity. And that's a whole other discussion right now, which we're not going to go into, and that is non-Jews in general do not impart impurity, as far as the Torah is concerned, in general. There are exceptions, and there's...
Then you've never been downtown.
Yeah. 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 So that's not impurity. That's already even lower than impurity. That's a step lower. Quite right. But anyway, even Minat Torah, even the Torah perspective, there is an aspect of Tumah. The sages conferred a certain category of impurity upon non-Jews. So that's a whole fascinating discussion. What exactly was the impurity that we were concerned with? But be it as it may, the bottom line story was it was impure. Exactly what, when, by whom, how, why. That's a very interesting Talmudic discussion. So it was only enough for one day. Iranes, and we know a miracle happened. V'dolak shmona yamim, it lit for 8 days. So just you please tell me, why did it burn for 8 days? What was the point? God just showing that he's capable of doing miracles. He doesn't do that for nothing. What was the point of the miracle? Simple, just simple.
It takes 8 days to produce new oil.
Sorry, why does it take 8 days to make olive oil? It takes less than 8 seconds. You take an olive.
You have to go to the north of the country to get the proper olive trees. And
Right,
it's a 4-day trip there and back.
Yeah, so one of the answers is that there were no olive trees available. It was only a 4-ride distance. So 4 days there, 4 days back. That's a difficult answer because surely somebody had some oil somewhere. The basic answer goes back to impurity. Everybody was impure, and it takes 7 days to undergo the purification process. They're all impure because there was death everywhere. The Jews were impure. And to become purified from death needs 7 days, a shiva. And as you know, the Torah devotes an entire section to these laws, Pashat Chukas.
That answers really.
Pardon, the person has to be sprinkled with the ashes of the red heifer on the 3rd and 7th day. So only on the 8th day were they pure. So they couldn't do anything till the 8th day.
But isn't there also a rule that if everybody's impure, then you can proceed with
Right. So
service of
the Gemara says,
as in Pesach, there's the rule you can.
That's right. So the law is that the laws of impurity are suspended if everybody or the majority of the people are impure. So the fact is they could have taken any olive and squeezed it impure and used it. So there's no reason halachically for the miracle, as Yeshua points out. And the answer is no reason. Hashem did it to show his love. To show his love of the Jewish people, that even though by halacha, in this case, impure oil is acceptable, but I'm showing my love to you over and above even the demands of the law, the logic of the law, and Hashem performs the miracle, which leads us then to the following. which I'll share with you. Okay, we'll if we have time, we'll get back to the text. And that is, the Greeks, the war, as we all know, was a spiritual battle. It was a purely spiritual battle because the Jews resisted it, ended up being physical. But the Greeks had no desire to engage the Jews in battle, destroy them, or even destroy the temple. The temple was not destroyed. It was defiled, but not destroyed. Unlike the Babylonians after them and the Romans after them. On the contrary, the Greeks appreciated. They were very cultured. They were the most advanced in culture civilization in the world, in non-Jewish culture, and still continues to set the standard. So on the contrary, they appreciated the beauty of the temple. It was a magnificent building. The architecture was stunning. They also appreciated Jewish culture. They also appreciated Jewish philosophy. They also appreciated Jewish tradition. They had no problem whatsoever, Jews, listen carefully, observing all their mitzvahs for the very reasons I just identified. It's our history, it's our culture, and it has a wonderful philosophy. As long as we observe it for reason and logic, no problem. The war was on the sanctity and holiness of Judaism, to do so beyond reason because God has so commanded, and therefore, the laws are eternal and immutable, not subject to change. Everything's subject to change. That's the nature of life. Nothing's eternal. That's what they fought against. They fought against our belief and our connection and our commitment and the whole approach that we have in the observance of the commandments. It's based fundamentally not on because they're beautiful or make sense, but because they're divine and eternal and infinite. And at their source, every single commandment is utterly beyond logic. Like God is, there is no reason for God's existence. If God has a reason to exist, then you're worshiping the wrong address. Worship the reason. That's why he's there. No, God has no reason. He is. So the commandments that come from his very essence, like him, have no reason. So the Greeks were okay with even this. If a Jew has the attitude, for example, about the chukim, the statutes that have no obvious reason to us, like the red heifer, shatnez. And if you were to say, I'm doing it because I don't know the reason, but there is a good reason, and God has a good reason, and that's why I do it, the Greeks have no problem with that either. Go right ahead, because logic recognizes that some things are beyond my understanding, so it needs a higher understanding. Just like someone is going to take the medicine that a doctor gives, you know why the medicine helps you? You have no clue. But you know the doctor understands because he went to school and he learned medicine and you trust him and you take the medicine without qualms. So if that's the way we keep Judaism, no problem. God, the supreme intelligence, has his reasons and they're beyond us, but that's fine. But I'm doing it because there is a reason. I just don't know it because it's too complex and beyond my grasp. If that's the attitude, then the Greeks have no problem. There is no battle. The Hasmonean pick up no arms. There is no Chanukah. So where are they wrong? Where are they wrong? Well, you just heard where they're wrong. The root of the mitzvahs, all of them, are beyond reason, even the logical ones. Even the logical reasons at their root. Why does God command it? There's no explanation, not in this world, not the next world, no reason anywhere. In other words, get to the bottom of the matter. If you believe that God is divine intelligence and the creator, no problem. Greeks would totally agree to that. That kind of Judaism is A-okay. We're in. We support it fully. If your God is the divine, intelligent creator, and you're sitting thinking, well, I hope you're not, because we speak about this all the time here. God is not divine, intelligent creator. It's not who God is. He's utterly beyond that. It's a role he chose to descend upon. And he chose to manifest divine intelligence and to create a highly intelligent and complex world. That's not what he is. He's not like the artist who's hardwired to be the artist or the mathematician. That's just the way they're built. And when they develop and express themselves, produce art, produce logic, because we're finite human beings. And so we express itself in the way that reflects our hardwiring. God is not hardwired in any way at all, not spiritually, certainly not physically. He's not intelligence. He creates intelligence. He's utterly beyond it. He's beyond. Even infinite, we're not going to go into this subtlety now, but even infinite doesn't peg God. Is beyond infinite. He chose to assume the role of creator, to descend, to manifest attributes of intelligence, chachma, bina, das, all the 10 attributes and so on that end up by his will, because he wanted to create a world that is finite, that conceals him, and that we, through Torah mitzvahs, reveal his essence beyond creator. That's the whole war of the Greeks. So if a person does mitzvahs, he doesn't understand the reason, doesn't know the reason, but he's believing there is a good reason. God has his reasons, and that's enough for me. For the Greeks, that was perfect. What is the Jewish attitude? It's the inverse completely. It's the absolute inverse. Even the mitzvahs that we know the reasons for, like don't kill, very logical. Why does a Jew do it? Because you commanded it and it's beyond reason. All the reasons and the logic are the packaging of the divine will. The divine will is beyond infinite. I want because I want. Just like I am, says God, that I am, or because I am. There's no justification, no logic. No, God creates reason. Reason is a creation, just like stones are, no less. No less for God. One isn't greater or smaller for God. They're both insignificant. He just chose to create them because he has a desire for a dwelling place in this world. Why? There's no reason. So, as we say here endlessly, there's no reason for God creating the world. There's no reason. There's a purpose. Why do you need that purpose? There's no reason. I chose to. The purpose is he wants a dwelling place in this lowest world. Why do you need to have a purpose? No explanation. I chose because I chose. Free choice. Only God truly chooses freely, free of all considerations and values, because there are none. He created them all, and he's utterly beyond them. That's the essence of Judaism, and that's the war of the Greeks. Do it because there's reason. You know it, or it's beyond you, but that's why you do it. Not simply because the beyond reason God has commanded, and therefore that makes it eternal. And that explains the miracle. God did a miracle that didn't have to happen. There's no reason for it, no logic to it. Halachically, no reason. Take any olive, squeeze it. Surely there was a few olives left in Jerusalem somewhere. People had olive oil was common. The oil was a staple of life. People had, and certainly enough to light the menorah. And they could have done it, but God says no, because what this whole battle is, it's the battle of logic versus beyond reason, and therefore the miracle has no logic and no reason, and I'm going to do it anyway because I choose to show that you and I are bound up on a level beyond all logic. Clear? You had a question?
Either restorable. So there most likely were. So,
It's like you what?
there were surpluses of oil.
I'm sure people in their private homes had oil. The Greeks didn't enter everywhere. They entered the temple. So the problem was they couldn't use it because they were impure, but the law is, that's okay. So what's the miracle? I'll point to the miracles. Doesn't have to be. It's not dictated by logic. It's fine. But our connection goes beyond logic, beyond reason.
Rabbi,
How
we
could-
find this in the Akedah also. Is this like a thing with Hashem, like that a main thing is to love him beyond logic? That's a much, much deeper, like, why particularly this? Why is this the highest level?
Because this touches Hashem himself. Goes beyond logic, reason, values, limits of description of any kind. So when we do mitzvahs, because you commanded the essence of it, transcending any justification, then you need the follow? Then, okay. So there we're touching the essence. I mean, this translates itself also in relationships, particularly marriage, because our relationship with God, as you know, is divine marriage. So people that marry for reasons, they marry for reasons. I don't want to be lonely, I want to have children, or he marries her for reasons. She's young, pretty, funny. That's not a marriage. You didn't marry her, you married the reasons. And if she doesn't have this anymore, she's not young anymore, what happens when she's 60, 50, 80, 90?
A lot of the things that you fall in love with people are logistical reasons. She's a good mother, she's a good wife.
That's right. So they're the
She
hook.
looks pretty when she smiles on my daughter and they're together. There's reasons that build it up. It's not just from 0 to 1,000. This makes no sense. I mean, I don't know if you've ever been with a woman that makes no sense, but it's like, that's kind of like what we're,
So the reasons are the hook. But if we remain stuck with the reasons, we're not really connecting. The end of the day, a marriage it can't be any other way. We're one. You love yourself because of a reason. You love yourself because you're so clever and so successful. That's not a healthy love. Healthy love, true love is I am. So love is a poor word here, but the true meaning, the depth of self-love is you love yourself because you exist. And that's how it should be with your wife, because you are and we are one. That goes beyond all values and things you produce. Your humor, your motherhood, you're funny, you're young, you're beautiful, with all the reasons in the world. They're there, but that's not the core essence of it. Judaism has all these reasons. There's 10,000, 100,000 million books in Judaism, in Torah. That's all the beautiful packaging. It's much deeper than that. We're running out of time. The point is that if you're connected at an essential level, then I appreciate your intelligence only to my wife now, or your virtues, use an example, only because they're your virtues. If someone else has them, I'm not interested. I can have them in greater measure than you, but if it's not you, I'm not interested. So all of these values, a million books that the Torah, that sages have revealed in Torah for reasons, they're only valued because they're your reasons. They're not your reasons, they're meaningless. So beautiful, I love you, you're beautiful. There's someone else that's more beautiful. Why don't you love them? Because it's not you. I love you because you're so funny and cute. Somebody else that's funnier and cuter, why don't you love them? They could be funnier, they could be cuter, I'm sure they are, but it's not you, so I'm not interested. So what I'm saying, then all the virtues become valuable for one foundational reason, because it's you, if it's not you, not interested. So yes, we learn Torah on this profound logic and reason. The only reason its only value is because it's your logic and reason. You chose to invest your infinite will that's beyond reason and all of these layers of packaging of reason. beautiful, elaborate packaging. But the packaging is only valuable because the diamond is in it, and that's you. The diamond isn't in it, the packaging is meaningless. It's very elaborate, logic, beautiful explanations. Not if these explanations are not yours, your chosen packaging for your infinite, beyond logic will, then it is absolutely meaningless and of no value. Again, someone else who's prettier than you, not interested, because it's not you. By all objective standards, that person is prettier, certainly younger. There's always somebody younger. There's always somebody richer, smarter, faster, whatever virtue you're looking for in life. Blonder hair, whatever you're looking for, that you thought, they're all hooks. You go dating, they're hooks. But once you're hooked, you got to, all these things, no, it's you. These just drew me in. Now it's you. And therefore, these things are valuable because they're you. So many times in Judaism, it's the same thing. People get drawn in because it's the beauty of the logic. It's a beautiful life. And you look at the nachas that people have from their children, and it's so wholesome. It's all true. Judaism has the best packaging in the world. And the Greeks were saying, if that's what you're stuck at, then fine. That's a Judaism we can live with and we appreciate. But no, Shabbos and Yontif and Mikveh and Tefillin and Tzedakah and honoring parents. Why does a Jew do so? Because you so commanded beyond all logic. And the logic to it is valuable because you put that will in logic. So we'll learn it and appreciate it and appreciate the packaging and ooh, ah, wow, how beautiful the packaging is because you chose this packaging, you put your will in it, and therefore the packaging is valuable. What's the packaging? All the reasons, the beauty, the benefits, the values. We're not married for benefits and values. Initially, that's why, that's the hook. But then once we connect from the moment of the chuppah, it's, what do you mean? It's you and I are one, and this transcends reason. We're just one. And I love myself, not because I'm smart, because I made a good deal today. No matter what goes on, the self-love remains, or should. The same is true of my spouse, no matter what's going on. Because we're one, that's it. Beyond condition, beyond value, beyond reason. And that's our relationship with God. The Jew and Hashem are one. So Hashem does a miracle, there is no reason. There's no reason for it. Allah says, we don't need this. The whole drama is completely unnecessary. Hashem says, I know, I'm doing it anyway, because our relationship is beyond reason. It's one. And that's the symbol and the meaning of the number 8. All right, friends, which we won't go into now, but you're familiar. See you all, I hope, at 4 o'clock at Hampstead Park. We need a big show. We need to light up the world more than ever, this dark world. So 4 o'clock, meet the Grenadiers, and 4:30, God willing, the lighting of the menorah, Hampstead Park. Wonderful day. Happy Chanukah. Thanks for your comments and questions. Dave, who else commented? Yeshua, all of you, thank you for your comments and your contribution.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you, Rabbi. Thank you.
Chanukah Sameach. Shabbat
Right.
Shalom.
Rabbi.